So, it's 1606. It's one of the most tumultuous times in British history.
The Queen died.
One of the longest reigning monarchs, Elizabeth I, has died. Notably, she has died childless. For decades, people in London, people who are across the country have been worried about who is going to become king. Finally, we discover who is going to become king, and it's a Scottish king.
And this is where the Elizabethan theatre and the Jacobean theatre cross over.
Yeah, absolutely.
As well.
A couple of years before, we've had the gunpowder plot.
Tried to kill the king.
Yeah, a group of Catholics have plotted to kill a king, which again, in terms of the play we're about to see, is fascinating. That with an act of regicide is going to be the main...
So it's totally relevant to the audience, isn't it? It's their lives, isn't it? It's what they've been watching.
Including the fact that the heads of the gunpowder plotters, their heads are on the bridge that the audience would have crossed on the way to get to the globe. So, you know, they can see the evidence of what happens to people who plot against a king. It's a Scottish king. You know, a massive shift in British history that now we have a Scottish king. And if word got round that there was going to be a play about Scotland, about a Scottish king, then this is the most contemporary play that you could possibly go and see.
So, we're at home in 1606, bored out of our brains, twiddling our thumbs, saying, what should we do? What are our choices of social activities back then?
We've got bear baiting.
Yeah, which some women wouldn't like to see because that's quite violent.
It's quite violent. Cockfighting.
Again, quite violent.
Yeah.
And real, seeing dead animals.
Prostitution.
Good for the men.
Theatre.
So as a punter that doesn't have much money, maybe I would have been a groundling back then. There's lots going on. It's not just the play, is it? It's very different today. It's highbrow, let's go and see Shakespeare, darling, and sit down and listen really carefully. It wasn't like that at all.
No, it's got to entertain you.
Yeah.
Because if you want to spend the very little money you have and spend an afternoon off, it better be good.
It better be good, yeah.
And it's interesting because I was looking the other day that the Globe actually was one of the few theatres which didn't have to diversify. Nearly all the other theatres would do a couple of plays and then a bit of cockfighting and then a bit of bear baiting because you had to get the people in.
Yeah,
so it's all economics. They don't do it because, oh no, guys, you really need to see a play.
No,
they need to make sure that was
money.
entertaining.
Yeah,
they need to make sure it engaged an audience because it's a tough audience to win over.
Yeah.
And certainly a tough audience when you're sitting there, and in 1606, when you gather, 2,000 people gathered in one place. It's a massive social event.
Yeah,
you don't sit there quietly,
no.
kind of going, oh, I'm looking forward to being entertained.
Yeah, the actors have to grab the attention of the audience. So I love the opening to Macbeth because you've got the weird sisters. They're the first thing we see.
I know it would freak you out.
Totally freak
you out. I think if
you're
if it's in a God-fearing world, when you believe that the devil is real.
And witches are real.
When you think the idea of witches and what they can do to you is real.
Yeah.
And suddenly you walk into the theatre and I think you'd be quite shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, it's not iambic pentameter, it's not prose, it's this weird trachaic dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum. So tet is 4. So if you think about iambic pentameter, pent is 5. Okay? So you've got 4 syllables, but the trachaic, the trochee, is the long syllable, but it's said before. So in iambic, it's de-dum-de-dum-de-dum. In trachaic, it's dum-de-dum-de-dum-de. When shall we 3 meet again? So it's totally different to what they're used to with the iambic pentameter.
Stand out.
Totally stands out, supernatural, weird.
When shall we 3 meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain. When the hurly-burly's done, when the battle's lost and won, that will be ever set of sun. Worthy place upon the heath, there to meet with Macbeth. Fair is foul and foul is fair, hover through the fog and filthy air.
So after this sort of shock of meeting the witches at the beginning of the play, in the next scene, I guess sort of both in linguistic and hierarchical order is restored with the arrival of Ironbit Pentameter and the king and King Duncan.
Because they're higher status people, so they speak in verse.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's so much as a sense of relief in the audience. Okay, we've had that shock of this weird language spoken in a weird way by these weird sisters.
Yeah.
Now we have order restored. We hear about heroes. We hear about this heroic king, this heroic Macbeth, this warrior who's fought on behalf of his king and his friend Banquo.
Worthiest cousin! The sin of my ingratitude even now weighs heavy on me. Would thou hadst less deserved, that the proportion both of thanks and payment might have been mine. Only I have left to say, more is thy due than more than all can pay.
The service and the loyalty I owe in doing it pays itself. Your Highness's part is to receive our duty, and our duty is to your throne and state, children and servants, which do but what they should by doing everything safe towards your love and honour.
Welcome hither!
In terms of being as a dramatist, if he's given us three different styles of the way that our characters speak. He's also very quickly, at the beginning of the play, given the audience an understanding that this is about play about oppositions. You've got this heath where so it's about these weird, strange outsiders in society, and it's also going to be about kings and queens in society. So two things massively in opposition in terms of the people and the locations we're going to be in. And then we have people who are totally in opposition in some ways. So we then bring in Macbeth and Banquo, who are going to receive very similar information, but are going to fundamentally take on that information in different ways.
Yeah, react differently.
Yeah. One person immediately is going to be susceptible to the suggestion of power in it, that, do I act on this? And Banquo receives, it's different, but it's not totally dissimilar. Your sons will be kings.
But he's a lot more pessimistic about these witches than Macbeth is. Macbeth's excited by it, isn't he?
But there's one more difference between them, is that Macbeth is childless.
Yeah, and Banquo
has
his son, Fleance.
a son.
Yeah.
So he has a future. There is there's a possibility of his line continuing. And again, going back to what we talked about earlier, this is a country obsessed with who will rule next, with children, who has children and who doesn't have children, whose line is going to continue. And if you're saying, if you have no children, you'd better grab it right now because you've got nothing else going on. But for Banquo, he can live through his children. And fundamentally, as we know in this play, he ends up living through the now king, the true king of England at this moment, James I.
If you liked this video, you can find it and so many more at ClickView.net. Sign up for free today.